we'll start with turning on the main disconnect switch. Right here we have the machine's main FRL, which is how the machine will get air to power all of the pneumatic cylinders and things on the machine. Right here we have the air shutoff valve itself. So you will rotate this guy to either release or to turn on the air to the machine. This also has a built-in location for a lockout if you need to do that. Right here we've got our water separator. Right here we've got our main regulator. This guy should be set at 90 psi. Right here we've got your oiler. This will be preset from the factory. So all you guys will have to do is just make sure that this guy stays full. And then there is a oil level line right here as well. Right here we've got our air shutoff safety valve, and what this guy does is if at any point while you're running the machine you lose power, what it will do is it will automatically shut off the air for you as a safety feature. Alright, as soon as you have turned on the main disconnect switch, you can go ahead and turn on the control circuit. And then after you've turned on the control circuit, you will hit the machine power start button, and at which point you will see all 6 lights come on the main panel, your indicator lights. Here we've got various switches for the various operations of the machine. Right here we've got drills off and on. That controls the pilot hole drill function for your bifold doors. Right here we have screw drop off and on. Right here we have reverse screwdrivers off and on. What this does is it will enable and disable the screwdrivers either starting in reverse or starting in forwards when they're going to insert screws. Right here we have screwdrivers off and on. That will just completely turn off the screwdrivers, either off or on. Right here we have the controls for your width adjust. We have open and close right here. And then right here we have disable auto feed maintain button. So if this is pushed in, it will not automatically feed a door out of the machine. If it's pulled out, it will automatically feed a door out of the machine as soon as it is done with its cycle. Right here we've got a switch that controls what length door you're running. Right here we've got 6/8 and then 8/0. You'll just have it in the 8/0 position to run an 8/0 length door, and then 6/8 for the 6/8 length doors. And then right here you've also got an emergency stop. All right, right here we have a few more buttons that control the machine. This one is the hinges loaded button. You would push this one to tell the machine that you have hinges in place and to rotate the next set of hinges into place so you can run the next door. And it will also tell the machine to drop screws. Right here you've got an unclamp button. You would push that door push that button if for whatever reason the door does not clamp up quite right, or you need to unclamp the machine, or anything along those lines. Right here we've got a clear screws button. If you encounter any issues with applying the hinges or anything like that, you got a stuck screw, you would want to push and hold this button until your stuck screw comes out, and then you'll release the button and the heads will retract back up, and they should stop spinning. Down here we've got another emergency stop, and that works just like all the other emergency stops on the machine. All right, right here we've got the 2 start sequence buttons. You have to press both of these at the same time in order to start the cycle of the machine. The main reason you have to press both of these is to make sure that your hands are clear of any of the dangerous parts of the machine when you go ahead and start the cycle. All right, so when you come to the machine and the power is turned completely off, this is how the indicator lights or the dummy lights will look. You will start to see them light up when you turn on the control circuit switch. At that point you will see the control power light, the overload relay light, the e-stop relay, or the e-stop light also should be on unless you've got one of your e-stops pushed in or something's blocking the light curtain. So right now I'll push an e-stop and the e-stop light will go out. So that will let you know that you have an e-stop activated somewhere, and you need to look into that if that light is turned off. The next light is the stop light. The only time that light will be off is if you're actively holding the stop button on the machine or an e-stop is depressed. The next button you have is the next light that you have is the start light, and that will turn on after you have pressed the start machine button, which is the green button on the main control panel. The next light that you have is the 24 volt DC status light. If that is on, it is telling you that the main electrical panel has 24 volt DC live inside of it. Alright, so when it comes time to add more screws to your hoppers, it's a pretty simple task. All you're really going to do is get a step stool and then put it behind the machine, and then you're just going to climb up and then lift this little flap here and then just dump your screws in. So generally you want to be sure that you don't add too many screws. Most times the quantities come in like 300-400 screws per bag, and you don't generally want to add more than one bag to the hopper at a time. Also, it's a good idea to spray these screws with dry silicone spray before you dump them in, and that will help the screws go into the door a little bit more easily. And you want to be sure and never use anything metal or any magnets when trying to clear stuck screws or remove screws from the hopper. So on the 777, you'll have a few different measuring tapes that will correspond to the different adjustments you can make on the machine. This one, for example, is for the width adjust of the table. And you will adjust this in correspondence with the width of your individual door. And to adjust the width adjust on the machine, you will push and hold either one of these buttons to open it or to close it. One of the other adjustments on the 777 is adjusting the drill to be in the center of the edge of the door. And you will do that by moving this adjustment lever back and forth so that this pointer right here references the tape of wherever you want it to go on the edge of your door. And in order to make those adjustments, you will first have to loosen this 1/2 inch socket head bolt. And then once you are done adjusting it, you will then tighten it again. So another one of the adjustments you have on the machine are the drill end stops. So here you will see two different collars. This one is for the 8/0, and then this one is for the 6/8 position. You can put these collars wherever you like. In order to adjust it, you'll loosen this pinch bolt right here with a 1/2 inch wrench. And then that will then allow you to slide this to either position wherever you have them set. And then once you're done, you will then tighten this pinch bolt right here to keep the head in place. Another adjustment that we have on the machine is your dead stop for the top of your door. It is currently set to the 8/0 position right now, and to change it to the 6/8 position, I've already loosened these 4 socket head cap screws right here. You'll want to do that also. So what I'll do is I'll move this out of position, and then we're going to pull this stop pin out. This one's for the 8/0, and then we're going to insert this one here, which we've set for the 6/8 length. And you're just going to insert it into this hole here, and then you're going to butt the stop up against the head of the bolt, and then you're going to tighten these screws back down, and then you are good to go. So another one of the adjustments that we would make would be to move the bottom of the door clamp stop. And I've again already taken the liberty of loosening these screws. And we've got 2 positions preset here for you. We've got an 8/0 position, and I've just lined up the end of this assembly with the edge of this sticker here. And then we've got another position, the 6/8 position, and we'll just do the same thing with that guy. So we'll just pick this guy up, slide it over there, and then we'll just tighten down these bolts again. Now on this guy, you don't have to be super precise on where you put it because you've got a range of about 2 inches. So as long as you're within about 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch of where this guy needs to be to properly clamp up a door, it'll work just fine. All right, so once you've got the machine all started, turned on and ready to go, you've got all your settings set to where you want them, you've got it in 8.0 or 6.8, and you're happy, you'll want to stage the doors in the machine just like this, and then you'll either take the top one or the bottom one and you'll push it forward, and then you'll take the second door and put it right behind it, and then as you're pushing the first door in, it's going to hit a sensor right over there in the middle of the machine, and then the back stops are going to raise up just like that. And then what you're going to do is you're going to continue to push both doors forward, and then as soon as this back door hits another sensor right in front of that stop right there, you have to pull the second door back up against another set of stops. And I'll do that right now. Just like that. All right, so once you've got your door all clamped up in the machine and you're ready to go, you want to make sure that you've got hinges loaded. And you're going to want to hold the hinge just like this, and then you're going to reference it up against this slot right here in the hinge holder, and then you're going to pivot it in place, and then it's going to stick to the anodized aluminum plate with some magnets that we have pressed in there. So the same process as before, we're just going to load our hinges, reference them off the side, and then the magnets will stick it to the plate. And then as soon as we've got the first set of 3 hinges in, you're going to hit the hinges loaded button. They're going to spin around. It's going to drop some screws unless the machine already has screws inserted. Then this light's going to start blinking. And then at this point you have an opportunity to load a second set of hinges, so you don't have to continually load a set of hinges after every single door. And then you're ready to go. All right, so at this point everything on the machine should be ready to go. We've got the doors loaded and clamped into the machine. We've got the hinges loaded. We've got the screws dropped. All we need to do at this point is to hit these start sequence buttons, and then the heads will drop down. The screwdrivers will start spinning. They first start in reverse depending on where you've got your switches set, and then they'll start spinning forward, and then they'll actually apply the hinges. And during that, the drill motors will also simultaneously be coming in, clamping, and then drilling your pilot holes. All right, and let's go ahead and do that right now. All right, this is the sensor that will tell the machine to raise the backstops for the door. This sensor right here is the one that tells the machine to do the rest of the clamping sequence. All right, so again, we're gonna get our doors all staged up, ready to go. We're gonna slide them into the machine past this first photo eye. The backstops should come up. And then once those come up, we're gonna start feeding the doors into the machine again. And then we're gonna hit that back photo eye, and then as we do that, we want to immediately pull the doors forward up against the other backstops, and then we will do the next steps. So just like that. Next, we'll make sure that we've got our hinges loaded. After we've done that, we're then ready to start the sequence. And we'll do that now. So before you turn off the air to the machine, or before you turn off the power to the machine, you need to first put in these anti-drop pins. And what you will do is you will use the pin to kind of push this flap out of the way, and then you'll just slide it in this hole, and then the flap will key into this slot on the pin right here and prevent it from then sliding back out of the machine once it's in place. In order to remove it, you just lift that flap out of place, and then pull the pin back out. All right, once we've ensured that we've got the anti-drop pins in place on the screw heads, we are now safe to turn off the machine. And all you will want to do is just turn that switch to the off position. All right, and then to turn off the power to the main panel, you will just rotate this counterclockwise into the off position.